I don't think the loss to Georgia Tech takes Mack Brown out of the ACC Coach of the Year consideration. I think this is actually one of the more interesting years for ACC Coach of the Year. Mike Elko, Duke head football coach, is in the conversation ever since they became bowl eligible. To take a Duke program that had been super, super stagnant under David Cutcliffe and have some of the wins that they've had this year, and they've been super competitive, even in this last week's loss, to me, keeps Elko in the conversation from that whole worst to first or worst to bowl eligibility. But the two interesting arguments would be about Mack Brown winning the Coastal after the year that they had, getting better in areas where they needed to be better, and getting it right with Drake May. They win the Coastal. Then there's Dabo. I know this is not a popular conversation to have when the coach that goes out and wins does exactly that. But they were at a inflection point last year, and they got stronger. They are flawless in ACC play this year, getting ready to take on South Carolina to close out the season before taking on North Carolina in the ACC championship game. It wasn't pretty all the time, and there have been some little ups and downs there with DJ Uyunglele, but they had a thorough beating of Miami on Saturday. Just, 98 total yards of offense for the Hurricanes?
Miami's such a
who can't get out of their own way? Yeah. My dad got mad at me for taking him to a sports bar to watch that debacle. He's like, why'd you bring me here? I'm like, well, I wanted to watch football, Dad. I'm sorry. Does Dabo at least deserve some conversation for ACC Coach of the Year with bouncing back, going 8-0, and winning the Atlantic?
Oh, he's definitely in the conversation. I said this while you were gone last week. It depends on how the season finishes.
Sure.
Right? I don't believe in voting for someone for Coach of the Year just because we thought they were going to stink at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that's the classic case. The classic case.
But Mike Elko's case is Duke was 1-17 the previous 2 years in the ACC. 1-17. Even if they finish 4-4, that deserves consideration to go from 1-17 to 4-4, and not with like this influx of transfer portal additions and whatever else. This is basically taking the same group that was inept and making them competent.
Yeah, I'm tracking what you're saying,
but I want to see them finish stronger than 4-4 means you lost your last two games.
Yeah,
Carolina with Mack Brown, 7-1 is really good.
Yes,
and while better than our preseason expectation,
winning on the road too, flawless on the road.
I think it also has been the way that they've won. And to your point about Drake May and getting the quarterback situation right and just getting the offense right in general.
Yeah, we talked about the offseason. It's not easy to replace the guy. They had an opportunity with Sam Howell last year. And to Sam Howell's credit, the dude was a gamer. He played his ass off and did the best that they could last year with all of the things that had gone wrong for Carolina. We sat and we thought here. We sat here and we thought, you don't know what you've got in Drake May. He could be a good quarterback, but to ask a true freshman to once again have or not a true freshman, but to have another freshman take off like it did with Sam Howell, man, that's asking a lot.
Yeah, you're rolling the dice.
It came up good, and they got a Heisman Trophy candidate. Now, as far as Drake May's Heisman Trophy candidacy goes, I don't know if Saturday's loss completely takes him out of the conversation. I know Mack Brown likes to talk about the Heisman Trophy as a team award. He's right in that. But you can look across college football and see down games for just about every candidate.
And Hendon Hooker hurt at Tennessee. Yes. Blake Corum hurt at Michigan. I'll say the same thing I said last week. It comes down to these last two performances. Do C.J. Stroud and Caleb Williams have a better chance than Drake May? But there's nothing preventing Drake May from being outstanding against NC State and then following that up, being outstanding against Clemson and winning the Heisman Trophy. Nothing.